I don't think wolves have wings. But it's easy to get that confused because tonight, like a phoenix, your Minnesota Timberwolves rose from the ashes, flapping wings of fire, torching the OKC Thunder, reigniting the hopes of Wolves fans everywhere. And when I say they were hot, I'm talking you couldn't cool them off with every last drip, drop from each of the 10,000 lakes. 57% from the floor, 50% from three, on their way to serving the Thunder with a 42 burger with a side of cheese and a slice of humble pie. Anthony Edwards, he could have been confused for Anthony Bourdain the way he took a big old bite out of the Thunder defense. 30 points, 6 assists, 9 rebounds, but Ant, he was just the sous chef. The whole damn kitchen was chefing up. There's that phrase, too many cooks in the kitchen. But when everybody's got the right recipe, there's no such thing, baby. 7 different Wolves in double digits. And after a delicious scrum-diddly-umptious game 3, the Wolves are just 3 wins away from their first taste of the NBA Finals. Wolves 143, Thunder 101, and man, oh man, it feels good to have fun after another Wolves win. This is Howlin' with the Homies, presented by Youngstedts, the auto service masters. Book your service appointment today at youngstedts.com. Max Fuller here alongside the harbinger of hype, John Barry, a.k.a. MC John B. It's a party here in the cage. It was a party at the crib tonight, and you couldn't have scripted a better bounce back game for your Minnesota Timberwolves. We asked the Wolves to come out and punch OKC in the mouth, and they punched them in the mouth, kicked them in the pants, suplexed them off the top rope, and added a people's elbow for good measure, John.
I think I need a cigarette after that soliloquy. My goodness, Max, that was amazing.
See, now you know why I be quiet when you come in here. I just be quiet because I'm locked in.
You're locked in, and the Wolves were locked in as well too. That first quarter set the tone. They punched him in the mouth, like you said, and got up 20, and they never looked back.
Man, I mean, and it was like one of those. It was one of those those beginnings to a game that you're like, okay, this is exactly what we want, but this is OKC.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a run at some point.
Right.
I know I wasn't the only one that was just kind of like, all right, we're hyped, we're happy, this is exactly what we want.
And I'm thinking, I've seen this movie before.
Right, too many times.
Where are the 8 turnovers in a row to cut it to 12? And
where's the Shea whistle? Yeah.
It just didn't happen tonight. It never happened. And your Wolves walk away, like you said, with a 40-point win, 42 to be exact.
I don't think anybody, even Miss Cleo, looking through the clearest her crystal ball has ever been, could have seen a 42-point win.
And if you say you did, you're lying.
Right.
You're
show me the
lying.
ticket, because I know you gambled on it if you thought that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
John Barry, you're not a journalist per se, but you do cover the Wolves. You're around the Wolves all the time. If you were a journalist, what would the headline of this game be besides belts to butts, ass whooping, the Wolves back, baby? What would your headline be?
This was a all-around team effort. They all came to play today, including TJ Shannon, including Ant, including Julius, Mike. Everybody came to play. They were focused. They were locked in. I said before the series, if the Wolves do not turn the ball over and they make shots, they will win this series. And what did they do tonight? They did not turn the ball over, and they made shots, and they won by 40. That's the recipe right there.
Right.
That's the recipe.
That's all you got to do. Just win by 40.
Just win by 40.
Easy enough. We solved it. We don't need to be Bill Nye the Science Guy to solve it.
We don't need.
Just win by 40.
Yeah, just win
it's
by
that
40.
Easy.
You don't have to sweat it out. You can play Joe Ingles in the fourth.
How about
Luka.
the We Want Joe
We want
chance,
Joe
man.
chance. I never thought I'd hear that at Target Center. But there it was. We want Joe. We want Joe.
We got a Leonard Miller sighting.
Yes, Lenny got his double-digit game as well, too. So good for Lenny and
good
TJ.
Good for Lenny. A Luka Garza sighting.
It's good to get them some run in the playoffs. Absolutely.
It's amazing. And
Absolutely.
a Tom Schreier of ZoneCoverage.com sighting as well. What's good, Tom?
What's up, Tom?
Not too much. This is probably the least exciting sighting you're going to have in this game. I know people wanted Joe Ingles. I believe someone told me he wasn't wearing like basketball shoes.
Really?
He wasn't.
He really
No, I
wasn't.
don't know. I don't know.
Let him out on the court in some loafers. I don't care.
Did you know? You saw him. He was like, "Settle down, everybody."
Yeah.
I don't think Joe wanted to take away the time from the young guys. I think that's what Joe is.
A true vet move.
He's a true vet move.
I'll say this about this team. So Ant, they wanted him up at the podium, obviously,
Okay.
right? And he said, no, let someone else go get that shine. And I just love Terrence Shannon Jr. gets the ovation, right?
Yep.
Right.
Gets the podium. And that like fans acknowledge who he is, right? And kind of wanted him out there in that game. I mean, we saw 8 minutes of Dillingham, Clark, Minot used the most of that 8 minutes.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But I think, and I think that's kind of obviously Ant's the star, and that they, he drives winning. They talk about him setting the tone. But I love this win not just because like you have a 40-point win and you show some hope, right? But that it kind of shows what this team is.
Yes.
That it really is like a unit of 15.
Ant and the colony.
Yes.
The colony.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
100%. It shows the now. It shows the future. It shows everything that this team is and is going to be for a while now.
Absolutely. And I really think like Clark could be playing more, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His defense, and I think he plays within himself.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't do too much offensively. And I think Shannon, it felt like was plug and play, right? That you could have probably, as soon as you drafted and brought him in. I understand like Finch wants to keep that 8 happy. Those are veterans. Those guys drive winnings for them. And I hold out hope that Dillingham is like a game-breaking star, right? You know what I mean? With
we
his
all
handle.
do.
Yeah, and so I love that we saw this in the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals
Right.
in front of this audience.
And then also too, I liked how when TJ got his run, that the bench they went wild for him. You saw Nas and Ant get out. They were the first ones out on the floor when he get 9 in a row, and you're like, that's a team that is together and wants to do this for everybody.
No, absolutely. And I think that is, we talk about this win, right, and how much you can replicate. It is not. We're probably not going to see a lot of like the bench playing 8 minutes.
No.
in the series.
No.
But it is.
We can hope.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great.
It's
It'd be
always
great.
a good sighting.
In this way, yes, I would take the bench for 8
Absolutely.
minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is a good point. But I think it is like that. It is a sum of its parts, right? That it wasn't just like an Ant driving winning.
Yep.
He probably could will this team two-way playoff win, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at the replay here. He made something out of nothing with this. By the way, an Ant breakaway or whatever is so different than a Gobert one. but I think like I do think that's the sustainability. You're not going to shoot like they did in this one.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit that this is role players struggle on the road, right? And we
Right.
saw
Yep.
more from the bench in these 2 games. And I think in terms of the whistle, right? I think it is funny that Shannon actually, I think, outscored Shea.
He did.
Right?
He
Yeah.
sure
Absolutely
did.
did.
Ain't no SGA, only TSJ.
Yes, and
when we're at the Target
I
Center.
will say this: you and I have wanted TSJ.
We have.
all
We've been
season
calling for it.
Yes. But I think like, listen. Shea's going to get a better whistle, and they'll get a better whistle. In Oklahoma, they still have the home court advantage. But I think if you can throw your weight behind these wins, right, and it's not just Ant, that Ant sets the tone. Mike Conley was incredible at times, right?
Yeah.
Go Bear. The fact that he was stealing and creating situations.
Right.
Absolutely.
I'm like, where are those hands when you're on offense?
Yes. Yes.
I ain't trying to slander Rudy now, though, but
No,
I'm just
that's-
saying.
That's fair, but even we saw that 27-24 game again, outlier. But I think that is the Timberwolves in my mind. It is not just a heliocentric like. I know Ant is the star, right?
Right.
Yep.
But and I think that is if you're trying to expand this out and say the pathway is win again here, right? And then 80% of the time when you win Game 5, you win the series. So it seems daunting when they go down 0-2.
Right.
Yep.
Even if you kind of understand how they lost there, and you go, how do you win 4 and 5? Well, it really comes down to take care of business, right? And this next game here, and then you got to steal one in Oklahoma City.
You only need to win one there.
Yes.
Just one.
That's it.
That's all you need to do
That's
is
it.
win one. And the series is yours. Protect home court. That's exactly what Oklahoma City did down there. That's exactly what we're going to do here in Game 4 is protect home court. And then we'll be back for Game 6.
And you couldn't have won in a better way, kind of
No.
like you were saying, Tom. It's
Yeah.
not just like Anthony Edwards dropping 50 points and it's some
You win
it's
by
not-
8.
Exactly. It's like you win off a buzzer beater. It's like a game that can't necessarily be replicated. Like you
left
said,
no doubt.
no doubt. And everyone from all the way from Anthony Edwards all the way to Leonard Miller is walking out of here with their head held high.
Here's the thing. That's another one where like people were like, why did I think San Antonio gave up that pick that they used to get him? And people were like, this is why. Now, Leonard Miller, obviously, I think they want to be that two-way player. And you realize like in the playoffs, you need every guy to kind of be that, right? The two-way player.
Yeah.
But you see that offensive skill, right, shine. And I think, this is I think we look at sustainability now, knowing that there's flukes in the playoffs, right? And you kind of just need to constantly be there. I mean, already it's like Finch, I think, has more playoff wins than Flip.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And I think Ant passed KG, right, for points. So like this is so different than what we've seen in Wolves history, even going back to the successful years, right? And I think part of this is it feels like to win in the NBA now you need depth, right? It's like LA had stars.
Yeah.
Golden State obviously loses Steph, but they had stars. And I think why Oklahoma City is so tough is obviously that defense.
They have 10.
And they have guys, and you see they have the connectedness that the Wolves have, right? You see it in the interviews or whatever. And I think, in as much as it's a small thing, for all we know, Anthony Edwards might have been like, I just don't want to walk up to the podium.
Right.
But for him to say that, and Terrence Shannon had to ask, I believe it was Nas, where it is, right? You know what I mean? And I think that just did that. I mean, obviously this is catnip for writers, but like, I love the idea that like, let these guys shine in these moments, right? Make this the Terrence Shannon game, and that's what they did.
And that's consistent with the way Ant has been throughout his entire career, right? Whenever, I mean, he could have a 50-point game, and he's still going to be like, but Jaden McDaniels, though. You know, like that's who Ant is.
They were talking about that, the all-defense team, that, you know what I mean? And kind of like, hey, are they watching him? Because defense is something you have to see, right? You know, you can see that a little bit in the metrics, but here's the other thing. When McDaniels goes off, look at sustainability, he's the X factor to me, right?
Yeah.
And they've talked about him being the barometer all year, but it is Ant in general is going to be a superstar, right? I think Randall, what we've seen is that the playoff stuff did not carry over to Minnesota. He's a star. He's had one bad game, otherwise has driven winning for them. But McDaniels, when he can lock down a guy like that, right, just snuff a guy out, and score, and you know what I mean, that kind of touch around the basket, just that janky game. Like no one else plays basketball. You know what I mean? Like Jaden McDaniels, at least at this level. I think he's such an X factor, and I think one thing they're gonna have to monitor, especially in Oklahoma, is like Nas gonna have to just absorb fouls, right? He can guard Shea, and you put and Clark. I think the same thing, and that's again to the strength of the team. You just have to assure that McDaniels, to the extent you can, does not foul it, because it's either the most obvious foul in the world, or you go, where was the foul?
Right.
In that vicinity. So to me, that is one thing to watch going forward. It's just obviously Ant, I think, likes McDaniels as like a person.
Yeah.
But I think he also realizes like
he's a damn good player.
Like they win when he's good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like he can, like, not to continue with the constant Ant Jordan compare, but he could be my Scottie Pippen. If you're comparing Ant to Jordan, he could be that Scottie Pippen.
Leonard
Miller right there after we're just bigging him up. Someone in the chat said, "Who dis white boy?" That's Tom Schreier of ZoneCoverage.com.
Okay, Tom.
And you're hearing his elite basketball mind. Also joined by John Barry. I'm Max Fuller, and you are the lovely listener, and you want to howl with us. So let's holla at Violet in Minneapolis. Tell me something good, Violet.
Booty woo! Hey, what's up, guys? We're amped. It was electric tonight there at Target Center. It was crazy. And honestly, we had to call in and say, y'all got to have more faith. It's always been Wolves in 6.
Okay. All right. Talk about it, Violet. I appreciate that. Put me in my place. Because it was dismal this morning.
Facing the guys that they're going to pull through, right? Randall's shooting 6 last game, 6 total points. That's not a Julius Randle game. And I've been a Randall hater. I've been calling him a bum. I've been waiting for him to break out.
Wow,
I'm
Violet.
waiting to eat my words on
Talk
this. You
about
know what I
no
mean? I'm
faith.
waiting to see a college game. To go, Julius, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with your game.
That's amazing.
Damn, Violet came on the call like the Wolves came in the game, just guns blazing.
Man. I appreciate Violet for turning that around.
She said, I apologize to Julius Randle. And I know a lot of people have already filled out those Julius Randle apology forms. He had a big bounce back game tonight. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to holler at my man Spencer from LA. What's good, Spence?
Hey, Max. I'm the guy who's called in during a win with 3 criticisms. Last game, talking about the offseason. So I'm calling in tonight to say, I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not very attractive.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Wolves fans out
That
there.
was, everyone's been saying, where's our A game? We got to bring our A game. That was A++. That's it. We can sustain that. We can beat anybody. We know where it's at. I love your guys' coverage. Great conversation. Max, you're the host with the most. Okay, I'm going to get arrested. I got to go. Bye.
I don't even know what that was.
Right, that was like a pterodactyl,
gosh.
a prehistoric hootie who.
Oh my gosh.
He was breaking the sound barrier on that one.
Can I ask Tom a question real quick?
Yeah.
What did you see from Minnesota's defense tonight against Oklahoma City? I was curious to get your opinion.
Yeah,
on that.
so I think it was aggressiveness, and I think the hard thing with that is I think you can do that a little more at home, right? You talk about the home whistle and all that stuff, and that is subconscious. It's not as though the refs go into the game and go like, hey, we're going to favor him, right? It's just they don't want to go against the crowd, but I think that was kind of set, obviously, initially by Ant, and this team is better when they're initiating aggressive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the hardest thing. It may be here, but especially in Oklahoma City, is that like that gets handcuffed, right? If you start calling it close. And so I thought it was, just kind of wanting to take control of the game. I kind of joked it was like third quarter insulation, and at some point it became so high that like there would been a monumental third quarter from Oklahoma. But I think to prevent that, because these games have felt close, right, until kind of the third quarter.
Yeah.
To prevent that from blowing up, I think you have to be the aggressor, right? You have to kind of set the tone, and I thought that created obviously easy points on the other end, but just better defense.
So in the third quarter, I saw them sort of make a mini run there right at the beginning, and then Julius
it was like 11-2.
It was 11-2. Yep, and then Julius Randle sort of calmed everything down, got himself a couple buckets. He got a layup.
I think they came out 7-0, a 7-0 run in response after Finch called that timeout.
Absolutely. So it was good to see them handle that third quarter and not let Oklahoma City cut it to 12-10.
They just kept their foots on their neck all night. And we were talking about it before you got here, Tom. It just felt like OKC has felt so inevitable throughout this series thus far that you kept thinking in the back of your head, okay, well, a run is coming. And it just never came because, like you said, the Wolves, their defense was ferocious tonight. They were the first to every 50-50 ball. They're pressuring all the ball handlers, keeping the guards out of the paint. They just did everything that we could have asked them to do.
What they did right is obviously build that lead and give yourself that leeway, but also probably expected a run coming out of the halftime, right? You always think like the team that's down adjusts first and they have to adjust back. And I think not only did they make the good adjustment back, I think the message there was that I believe that Oklahoma came back against Memphis down 30, right? So I think that was part of it is like this team is capable of that.
Right.
And you got to imagine anyone who watched that first game, New York, Indiana, goes like,
oh my God, yes.
like there's no lead that's safe. I do like that in all sincerity, aside from obviously we want to see the young players and it's exciting to see 8 minutes space of the depth. It's get Ant out of the game, right?
Yeah.
Don't risk injury. Don't risk like
don't
any
mess around.
Yeah, and I think at some point that became Randall and these other guys, right? So I think just huge in my mind to have a game like this, kind of to rest him, right, not take that risk, and also to see the depth in this bench. I think that's what people needed to see. I don't think there was any question that Ant would bounce back. I think there maybe was some with Randall, as much as we're joking around, right? You have little faith. Like, you don't want one game to revert him back to what he was before here, but I didn't think that would happen. I just think you needed to see the Randall game, the Randall bounce back, and then really the bench, because it is really
huge.
What's around Ant that will win this game.
100%. I'm seeing a clip here on Twitter right now. You could hear Wolves fans howling all throughout Mark Dagnall's post-game press conference. That's how hype we are right now. Wolves in 6 until it ain't. And we got plenty of homies that want to howl with us. Alex, Christopher, Renee, stay on the line. And if you want to join them, 800-320-5326, or you can shoot us a text 64686. This is a Howlin' with the homies. Max Fuller, Tom Schreier, John Barry breaking down a big-time Wolves win in Game 3, and we'll keep yapping about it after the break. Don't move a muscle.
Come watch pro hockey this weekend at the X. We've got your long weekend plans covered. The Professional Women's Hockey League's Minnesota Frost are back in the PWHL Finals and looking to repeat as Walter Cup champions. Cheer on the Frost at Xcel Energy Center this Saturday, May 24th at 4 p.m. Get your tickets today at minnesotafrost.com/tickets. That's minnesotafrost.com.
Hey, it's Moss. I just snuck on the Fan to tell you we all love the Fan, but if you want to get a little country, check out 102.1 K102 concert tickets, festival tickets, and new music from the biggest artists. I don't have much time, but keep listening to the Fan and check out 102.1 K102 at some other time.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Guardsy here. DIY with UglyDeck.com is a no-brainer. Just ask customer Matt, who writes, working with Ugly Deck was great. Priced out materials with all the big box stores, and Ugly Deck was not only more cost-effective, they also dropped off the materials and had a DIY number I could call when I had questions. Had them do ledger and footings too. It was a no-brainer. Well said, Matt. Save time, money, and hassle. Like Matt, make your next deck build a no-brainer. DIY with UglyDeck.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Come watch pro hockey this weekend at the X. We've got your long weekend plans covered. The Professional Women's Hockey League's Minnesota Frost are back in the PWHL Finals and looking to repeat as Walter Cup champions. Cheer on the Frost at Xcel Energy Center this Saturday, May 24th at 4 p.m. Get your tickets today at minnesotafrost.com/tickets. That's minnesotafrost.com.
Memorial Day doorbuster deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, Rewards members save $80 on the Master Forge 4-burner gas grill, now just $149. Plus, Rewards members save $900 on the Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator, now only $999. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.
We broadcast from the 651 Carpets Plus, home of the Next Day Install Studios. FM 100.3, KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan.
Welcome back to Howlin with the homies, and welcome back to the winner's circle. Minnesota Timberwolves 143-101. A 40-plus burger with some fries for the OKC Thunder. And the Wolves have this series 2-1 heading into Game 4 on Labor Day. Max Fuller alongside John, Barry, and Tom Schreier.
That's a crazy stat.
What is that? What is that stat,
We're
y'all?
looking at ESPN. 15 games with 30 points for Anthony Edwards. This is in Timberwolves playoff history, and there's 15 other players total who've had that.
Wow.
This is where I understand
God.
the want to compare to the KG era, right?
Yeah,
is
but
different.
there's no
And
comparison.
I think like the one flaw everyone found, and it was fun. I remember it as a kid, but like it was one and out. Obviously, outside of that one run, and they've done that run twice. And so I think that's something to remember. Is listen, you have to seize this moment because you don't know if you'll get it back. No Boston,
right.
It's wide open.
That's what I was just about to say. Is like obviously Indiana's a great team.
Yep.
New York is a great team, but they ain't nothing special. They ain't
mean,
nothing that we should be afraid of. This is the most wide open and most winnable finals that you're gonna have.
And this is the test. I think the question I had is obviously you see the Thunder's record and they broke from the pack, and I think this is the question obviously going forward for the Wolves is can they also do that, right?
Right.
But I think what the Wolves would claim is that like they made this monumental trade, and it was an emotional trade, right? Cat, what he meant to the organization, and we know how good he is, right? We're seeing him do it in New York. That's a high pressure stage, but like I think they would claim, listen, it's not good to melt down in Milwaukee. It's not, you look at like 2 Portland losses or Washington or whatever. That did go away 2 years ago after they had adjusted to the Rudy trade, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's, if this team wants to claim like throughout the regular season because we were adjusting all year,
Right.
they got to prove it now. Like this is the team. This is the closest you get to Boston in my mind, right? And that's not to take away Listen, Indiana, I still laugh about the end of that game one.
Yeah.
The fact that you had, and that's a brilliantly constructed team. Again, these teams are starting to win now. These really well-constructed teams with a guy like Halliburton. But the fact that that ball went like 100 feet in the air and dropped down.
Oh, my gosh.
And then he threw up the choke, and it's like, it's a long two.
His Kevin Durant foot on the line.
Yeah, it was really funny because like I did do it a little bit prematurely.
Yes.
Yeah, he
And
couldn't wait.
And someone said he pointed at Larry David or something. I don't know if that's
I think
true.
he pointed
did.
at Reggie. He
Oh,
pointed
did
at
he?
Reggie.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I think someone said he was jawing at Larry David
Okay.
or something like that, though.
So I think either way, I mean, that team feels like a team of destiny. It does not feel like a Boston that's like a dynasty, right? And I think even with New York, it feels like they're trying to seize a moment. It's very funny that like a team in New York kind of has to think that way, right? Like it hasn't been since '73.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think you have the best of both worlds that you can seize a moment right now, win again here,
Right.
take game 5, give yourself an 80% chance, or historically, let's say 80% chance, obviously, of advancing. But this isn't the only time it'll happen. Think of like Jimmy Butler. They got up to what, 3?
3.
I think,
Yep.
the 3 seed.
Yeah.
And it was as soon as, forget that he didn't fly home with the team and everything that happened in terms of pushing his way out famously, right? Mm-hmm. You did not feel the Jimmy Butler team was sustainable.
No.
And that it was too reliant on Jimmy Butler, which actually led to that moment. You need me, right? You
Right,
can't
right,
win without
right,
me.
right.
And I think
Hello from Cancun, by the way, Jimmy.
He's in France, actually.
Oh.
he's probably
He's
listening
in
to that.
France.
He's probably-
Bonsoir.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. He is in France.
I'm sure he's doing great. I'm sure he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it is also very funny that the Wolves actually got the Jimmy Butler series, right? The fact that it no
Yep.
Steph and like you saw the shades. I can't believe they survived that game, right? The shades of like Jimmy Butler could just force a will win a game, but it was not. That was not sustainable. And I think even with you had the one run, and I think everyone was thinking, hey, you have to win now. With the old Garnett team, because at some point that's going to go away. And I
Right.
think for this, you believe that this team is capable of making runs, even in a West that's more competitive, right? In
Yeah.
a league that's more
And
competitive.
that team didn't have any draft picks either to
Yeah,
sustain
yeah.
themselves.
Right.
So you're not bringing
There's
you're not bringing up rookies to fulfill the back end of your rotation.
Well, and the Wolves already have. They have so many players on their bench that are decent. Like Terrence Shannon Jr. would have been starting for the Lakers.
Probably.
Yeah,
Clark
Clark
could have been in rotation.
Absolutely.
But these are all late picks. Clark's a savvy pick, right?
Yeah.
If you
Right.
look back at the injury, it's one of those you're like, oh my God, how would he ever recover from that?
Yeah.
And that dude, that's a winning player.
He made his way back, and I'm so proud of that kid.
That
Yeah.
dude is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
he gets it in terms of, we talked about not playing outside himself offensively, but also like the way he describes his scouting report. Like that guy's going like through reams of paper to figure out how to, you know what I mean, how to guard these guys.
Oh. It's getting so live in here. The mics are
it's
falling
wild.
off.
It's wild in here. We'll get
it's
Max.
screws are
we'll
loose.
get Nick to fix that.
But Clark savvy pickup, Terrence Shannon, Jaden McDaniels, right? And that's not
Right.
Conley, but like those are the things that you lose, right? We always talk
Nas
about
Reed.
Nas
Reed.
Freaking
Yes.
Reed.
And that is what you lose if you, obviously with the under the table deal or whatever, if you don't invest in your draft picks, right?
Yeah,
Those are
right.
still valuable, even though you're not in the lottery. It is very funny. People were like, man, it's so nice not to think about the lottery, right? This year,
right, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
The nice thing is those picks still have value, and so I think that's a genius. I think we were saying this off the air with Tim Conley, is he builds deep teams,
Yeah.
and I think deep teams will win in the NBA now. We know you have to have the game-breaking superstar,
Yeah.
but Luka alone can't win you a series,
No,
right?
all these teams right now. I guess
Yeah.
New York maybe is a kind of a little bit of an outlier, but
Yeah.
it's more so because they don't go to their bench that often.
Yeah,
but
Tim
yeah, right.
Tibbs runs his 6 guys,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And then eventually the wheels fall off, which is
I will
Right.
say
kind
this.
of what's happening right now. But you're right. Like, it's all these teams are deep teams. This is what the new kind of like superstar
Yeah.
teams are going to look like. This is what the new success looks like. Is like one guy that's kind of the driving force, a Robin, and then a whole bunch of other really good supporting
And
players.
to be fair, Julius Randle may have gotten tired, right? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and I understand guys perform in New York. They're on the they were on the verge of reaching the finals, and I think.
Whoops.
At the same time, like this is probably another step. Is Finch talked about how he might want to go to a 9th guy at some point.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
talked about this. Like it is a vice and a virtue, right? The virtue is take care of your 8 guys who matter most and make them comfortable and put them in a situation to succeed. But I think it's also if this team is going to continuously play into the playoffs like this, you have to have these guys as ready as possible. And we see, and I'm not joking, 20 times this year I thought he was just done. You know what I mean? He's like, he looked like he was in pain. I can't believe, I think he re-injured that ankle. And I was like, dude, how is he still playing, right?
He's Wolverine.
He's Wolverine. Legitimately, he just needs a couple minutes to heal up. Like, I every time
he's 23, too.
Right,
yes,
he's 20. That too.
My 40-year-old self could not do that.
No, I can't even, like, I was swinging with my daughter the other day. I tried to jump off, like, when I was a kid.
No,
Man, I needed ice.
You took an L.
Yeah, I took a fat L. She had to piggyback me home.
I think that's another step, is trusting 9 to 10, right? And just making sure that these guys are as healthy as possible and ready when the playoffs come, because it's not just the freak injury thing or just kind of this accumulation of injuries, but it is like Mike Conley is fresh, fortunately.
Yep.
Like, think of how big he's been stabilizing this team in clutch
he's
scoring.
been incredible this series.
And I just think they have, like, at some point they're on the verge of kind of just turn this over to the Clarks, to the Shannons, I hope to the Dillinghams, and then hopefully bringing in reinforcements behind them so that there is like this promise of potentially Miller, right? If you develop him right or whatever, kind of these guys who incubating behind the scenes. So it just feels like more of a system, for lack of a better word, right? It's not just before it was KG, right? And it was kind of how do you build, same thing with Ant. It's just how do you reinforce the army, the 15 guys.
Yeah, right. And to your point, Chris Finch, I mean, he's like a veteran blunt smoker. He keeps that rotation tight.
Yep.
But TSJ might have played his way into the roto.
I mean, that's as close as Finch has gotten to being like, well, if he plays that well, I probably got to go back.
Like, how do you, he was all gas, no brakes tonight.
Right.
I mean, from the very moment he stepped on the floor, he was like, I'm going to make the most of however many minutes I'm on this floor.
Was his first move passing up the corner 3 and driving, right? I think so.
Yeah.
And it just told, like, at first I was like, just take the shot. But it just told me, like, he is thinking like Anthony Edwards. Like, get to the basket. And so especially as it goes to Oklahoma City, like, put Clark on Shea. He's going to get fouls. I think the Timberwolves actually got fewer fouls in Oklahoma City, but it was like 21 of them were for Shea or whatever. And so it's like you just have to use a guy like Clark because again, we go back to you can't foul out Jaden, but it's just like lean into the depth. That is the big win. It's not an Anthony Edwards game. It is a Timberwolves win here, and that is, again, that's the takeaway. Like, lean into that depth as we get further and further into the playoffs.
Did I see them play a zone? They finally implement the zone here tonight as well.
They did, and Conley kind of let it out that they haven't really like practiced it. so I think it's like maybe that obviously is that specific, but it is obviously if they're not shooting, go to the zone, right?
Yeah.
We saw. I mean, Milwaukee screwed with them in the regular season with that. I think the Lakers and Golden State went to the zone.
Yeah, well, Golden State definitely tried it at some point.
So I think implement that a little bit. They talked about going to the fastball too, right? Just like if they're playing clean basketball, right? You know what I mean? And if you can play clean that way, lean on the fastball and force them into a situation where they feel like they have to hit shots, then go to the zone and clamp them. And that's actually what Oklahoma City did, right? We saw that where like they weren't shooting, and that is a big factor, right? In these first 2 games, there's other things that go into it, but it is. If you shoot, you break them out of that shell. But what Oklahoma City did is just commit to the bit. And they were like, fine, shoot your way out of this, right? And I think you can turn that on them.
Which is exactly what the Wolves did tonight.
And it's going to that fastball, and then as soon as you realize that they're not shooting.
10 turnovers for your Wolves tonight. 10.
That's
and
huge, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just think about how many, like, just countless points that they've given. It's something like over 50 points that they gave them over the first 2 games off of turnovers. And then tonight, I mean, obviously you win by 40. I mean, that's a huge part of that 40 burger right there, is not giving them all those extra opportunities and also hitting your shots so you can get back and have a set defense against a fast-paced team like the Thunder.
I mean, that's the thing like that got hidden in Oklahoma or Golden State was that they were turning the ball over and Golden State just wasn't capitalizing on those opportunities. Oklahoma will. Anytime you do that. They just have quick guys who can get to the basket right away. So it is, I mean, a lot of it is on them. Clean play and obviously no turnovers.
We're speaking of rotations. We got a 3-man roto going on right now. Let's include the lovely listener. We'll increase the rotation inspired by Chris Finch. We got Marty from St. Paul that wants to howl with the homies. Marty, tell me something good, brother.
Max, what's happening, Bromeo?
You tell me. It's Fromeo, by the way, but I appreciate it.
Well, we go Fromeo, too. They're reversible, maybe first and last. But, hey, man, condolences to PA on the scabies, man. I know you're down with all that. You don't know he was out, but Friday. But getting in to call in to the program, even late night like this, is like trying to get into, password program. You have to break in easy, But yeah, tell me.
What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, Marty?
Drunk.
What do you want to talk about, Marty Marr?
Man.
It's late. You got to call her. Just be, you're blessed. Hey, I wanted to hear what you thought about the fact that now, like today and all this week, after the Wolves were down 2-0, it was just gloom and doom on the fan. You got to talk to Barrero because he was like, if we win another game, the rest of the Wolves' existence, we'll be lucky. He was down on the Wolves' bad.
Is that an exact quote?
Now that they came through, do you think, pretty close, do you think that this was an anomaly, or do you think the Wolves kind of had that home court advantage and things like that helped play a part in it because they couldn't miss tonight? And that's a big difference, and defense was a lot stronger. And the rest of your panel there, and whether you think that was a one-off or if we're going to see a continuation of this effort.
Can it be both?
Yeah, right. Well, and first of all, I just want to congratulate Marty for using the word anomaly in his current state. And he said he pronounced it correctly.
Anomaly in the
scabies.
same call.
I don't think we've had a normal call. We had a pterodactyl hooey-hoo, someone calling me out and then apologizing to Julius Randle.
Tom's over here just dying.
I'm sweating, dude. It's so warm in here.
I love these fans so much. Oh my god.
Here's what's sustainable is you should get a better whistle here, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
you should get the scoring. I think the question is obviously take advantage of it here in Game 4, and then how do you adjust in Oklahoma City? We talked about like clean basketball and so way to absorb fouls, but that is the big question. I think DiVincenzo, right? You think about him, a veteran who's won with Milwaukee and then won with Villanova. He has to tap into that. They need him, I believe, right?
For sure.
Yep.
Whether it's occasionally bring the ball up as a backup, but his shooting, his defense, even kind of outlet passing, some of the more subtle
We talked
stuff.
about it before. Like he's throughout this playoffs, he's been contributing in every possible
Other
way
ways,
except for scoring baskets.
Yeah. Yeah, and the concern with him is that does a lack of scoring leak into defense? That just kind of naturally happens, right? And they need that defensive presence from him. You need Naz because Naz is capable. I think it was in the first round. He had 5 points or whatever, knocked down 8, I think, to beat the Lakers or whatever. He had the one, and so he's a guy who microwave score, and they need his shooting. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I just think he's so important because he can guard Shea.
He's had 2 good games in a row.
Right.
Absolutely. He had a great game too.
Great to see, man, after the struggles he had early on in his playoffs.
And he just, to me,
it was just missing shots. It wasn't anything crazy from defenses or anything. It was just essentially the yips, and it seems like he's over it now.
And the thing is, once he's confident, you saw the reverse layup and the floater inside, and so I think he's capable. I think it was Virginia Tech he played in college. He was the star there, right? And you saw these glimpses of he has something in the bag, right? And how often can you actually tap into that? And so I actually think he's a player who the offense doesn't leak in the defense. Problem is when it's like a vicious cycle. If he misses a couple of threes, all of a sudden he will not shoot, or he's more hesitant. And I think they need him. Talk about aggressiveness and whatnot. He is a little like McDaniels in that he can change a game because of his defense and because of what he can offer offensively. So he offers there's no player like McDaniels, but the most similar skill set. And I think it's so vital. That is. Right. You cannot control the whistle, right? In Oklahoma City, I think you're just going to have guys absorb fouls. The bench can show up. Terrence Shannon can go in there. By the way, I think he's capable of doing this.
Yeah.
Go in there and have a game, right?
I think he can do this any given night.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of shown even in the small flashes that we get to see Terrence Shannon Jr. that, I mean, again, he's all gas, and no breaks all the time.
And you probably need 2 bench guys, right? If you can expand it to 4, gives you better odds.
Yeah, right.
2 of them go.
Absolutely.
So I think that is what you can control. That probably can carry over.
Okay.
And we got Mary from Southwest MN. She's being mysterious. Mary, what's good? Please be normal.
Where in Southwest Minnesota?
Hello, Mary. Mary Jane.
Hello,
Hey, what's
Southeast
good?
Minnesota.
Okay. What's good, Mary?
I just want to say one thing.
Say it.
Oh!
Yeah! Don't hurt yourself now, Mary.
That seems like it's coming from
No, I'm.
Mary said, no, you're not going to turn me off, and then proceeded to hang up the phone. We appreciate the call.
No, I'm still on.
Oh, you're still in your back.
Hey, Mary.
I'm still hanging on.
What's
You
good,
guys,
man? What do you want to
you're
talk
doing
about?
a great job, and you guys are doing a great job covering this. And the Timberwolves are excellent. They're hot.
Hell yeah, Mary. That was an elite. Elite take.
Yep.
Elite basketball mind.
Let me write
Nobody's
that
breaking
down.
down the game quite like Mary.
That'll be in my
The
Twitter for
Timberwolves
sure.
are great.
They're hot.
They are hot. And she is right. The phone lines
I
are
love Mary.
hot
Mary,
right
thank
now.
you so much for calling
And
in.
we're playing with fire with these phone lines. Renee
of
from
fun.
Iowa. You're howling with the homies. It's going to be hard to top the callers that have called in so far, but the floor is all yours, Renee.
Hey, Max and Parker. Well, Mary stole my bit because I just wanted to call in and howl, too.
You can
just
do that.
calling
It's
in
okay.
to howl for the Wolves win. Yep, calling in to howl for the Wolves win, and I'm going to give a 3 howl win for the next 3 wins. Ow, ow, ow! Go Wolves and go Frost!
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Our Minnesota Frost got a big time
Yeah,
win
they
tonight
did.
as
Triple
well.
overtime, right?
Triple overtime, was it?
Triple overtime.
Dang. And now they got a shot for their second straight championship. I love that Renee. She banked some for the future.
no,
she
she
said
did.
I got some
Absolutely.
future house. We love that. Christopher from St. Paul. What's good, Chris?
St. Paul.
Hey, what up? It is St. Paul here. Christopher Stelter. We gave you the spread cheeks, not hate T-shirts. We got TSJ time. We got Wolves back. We got Nas Reed. We got Wolves in 6, baby. How?
What are we doing? Max.
I'm never going to be allowed to do fan line again, bro.
I've been sitting in at home like, what is
Habit's
going
like, please wrap up. It is late on a Saturday night. Please wrap it up. All right, this is the last one. I swear.
Thank you,
Alex.
Youngstedts.
Alex from St. Paul. Yeah, well, the tires have fallen off, so I'm going to need to book a service appointment today at youngstedts.com. Alex from St. Paul, what's good?
What's up, Alex?
What is up, everybody? I actually am in Minneapolis. I was in St. Paul. But
okay.
I reside on this side of the river, Minneapolis, till I die. I love it. Love being a Wolves fan. Love being a Wolves fan. Have been going to games since I was 8. And there were a couple of shout-outs that I wanted to give to y'all tonight, and I'm glad to be spending my Saturday night with y'all. And here are my shout-outs. Number 1, shout-outs to the Wolves fans. I am so proud to be a Wolves fan. And love to hear that Target Center was electric tonight. Love to hear that we could hear the howls from all around town. And I also have to say, doesn't matter if you're just getting on board as a fan or if you've been a longtime fan. Just show up.
Thank you.
We need that energy, and it is so, so fun to be a part of the energy, the community, and just, being a Wolves fan. Truly the best. So that's my first shout-out.
Oh, that's just the first shout out. Okay.
That's the first one. The second one is for Violet, because I'm so glad that she got on board with Julius Randle. Been a Julius Randle fan since he started. But, he had a rough go. He had a rough go of it. And, I don't know if people saw the way that he was interacting with fans on the bench, fist bumping kids, just when he smiles, it sparkles. And I'm Team Julius all the way. So glad you're on board, Violet. I love that. And then my last shout out of the night is to my big brother for making me a basketball fan through and through. So really fun to be here. I actually have never called into the radio before, so this is really fun.
Neither have I, so it's awesome.
Yeah, that was surprisingly wholesome considering the trends that we've had tonight. We really appreciate it, Alex. Oh, she's gone.
Thanks, y'all.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Alex.
I was gonna say she said I got my shout outs. I'm out. we appreciate the positivity. The whole Twin Cities is lit up. Like I said in the pregame, it feels like a shot of hope straight to the veins, giving the people a little bit more hope. Last thing I'll ask y'all, as the one caller, I think he drunkenly started his call like this, and then eventually it went on to a very strange tangent that involved scabies somehow. now. But this is a replicable game, right, y'all? I mean, obviously, you're not going to win.
You're not going to win by 40.
You're not going to win by 40 plus ever again. I mean, this Thunder team, I don't even think they were down by over 30 throughout the regular
The Memphis
season.
series, that was about it.
That was it. Yeah, they haven't been quite battered and bruised and beaten like they were tonight. So obviously you're not going to do that again.
Right.
This is a team that only lost 14 games throughout the regular season. Had some of the most blowouts in the regular season history.
2 were to us.
Right.
2 were to us.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So, but this is a replicable game, right?
Yeah, I think, I look at shooting variance first, and you're not going to shoot. I think they shot like 52% from 3 or something like that.
Yeah, it was
50% from 3.
Okay.
57 from the floor.
In some of the game, obviously you had the 2 bad shooting nights. So game 5 against the Lakers, game 1 against the Golden State. And I just looked at it like, what if you just shot 33%, right? And I think they're in both those games. So I think you can remove points from the scoreboard in this. What you lose is the insulation in the third quarter, and they're going to have to manage third quarters, obviously, going forward. But what's replicable is kind of the might, right? That it was just, it was kind of that team effort they needed. And I think, we said this before, that like the bench players will have to show that on the road, but especially game 2, got to do that here. That's what you can replicate.
I want to see everybody in their seats 20 minutes before the game starts.
Right. When did we turn into a Miami crowd?
Get to Target Center. Seriously. Like Oklahoma City, they're in their seats 20 minutes before game time.
Right.
I want to see everybody at Target Center 20 minutes before game. When the team runs out, the stadium should be full. Absolutely, 100%.
And everybody and they mama's going to be at the Target Center on Monday. It's going to be the hottest ticket in town. I might sell some bootleg fake tickets outside just to make a little extra cash. Game 4, Wolves Thunder is going down. We back. It's Wolves in 6 until it ain't. Game 4 is going down on Monday. Same time?
Same time.
7:30.
Same bat time. Same bat
Tip-off.
channel.
And we'll be back pre-game. Same time, 6:30, and we'll holla at y'all after the game. In the meantime, stay safe. If you called into this radio show at all throughout the night, please, I hope you're
Get
not
home
behind
safe.
a wheel of a car. Please take an Uber. My God, y'all, but have some fun because it's fun when the Wolves win, and boy, did they ever. 143-101. This has been Howlin' with the Homies, presented by Youngstedts. Hootie!